There's a moment in every person's life when they realize something uncomfortable. They don't actually have a discipline problem. They have a decision problem. Because when something is truly non-negotiable, you don't try. You don't hope. You don't remind yourself. You just do it. And yet, most people wake up every morning trapped in the exact same cycle. I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it after work. I'll focus when things calm down. But tomorrow turns into next week. Next week turns into next month. And before you know it, you've built a life full of abandoned promises. Today, I want to show you a system born in Japan, refined inside Zen monasteries, and applied by some of the most consistent people on Earth that destroys that cycle at the root. You've probably heard of Kaizen. Most people reduce it to small daily improvements. That's not wrong, but it's incomplete. Kaizen wasn't just a productivity idea. It was an identity reshaping process, a way of turning a wandering, inconsistent mind into a mind capable of terrifying predictability. And if you follow this system exactly as I'm about to describe it, you're going to experience something strange. People will begin telling you you're obsessive. They'll say you're too intense. They'll joke that you're not normal anymore. When you hear those words, don't take them as insults. Take them as confirmation. Because the moment your discipline threatens other people's comfort, that's when you know you're operating at a level they can't even imagine. Let's begin with a story. Everyone has a breaking point. For some, it's rock bottom. For others, it's a slow, quiet realization that something has gone very, very wrong. For a man named Daichi, it happened in the most ordinary place possible, his bathroom mirror. He was 34, with a decent job in software development, a small apartment in Osaka, and a life that looked perfectly fine on the outside. But inside, he was exhausted. Not from working too hard, but from constantly breaking his own promises. He had tried to wake up at 5 a.m., at least 30 times in the last year, failed every single attempt. He had tried meditation, lasted 5 days, journaling, 3 days, learning English, 2 weeks. Every habit began the same. Excitement, motivation, a perfect plan, maybe a new app or notebook, and every habit ended the same. A tiny negotiation on a random Wednesday morning. Just today I'll skip. I'm tired. One negotiation becomes two. Two becomes a full collapse. Then comes the shame. Then the restart. Every restart made him feel weaker, smaller, more convinced that discipline was something other people were born with. Until one morning, barely awake, staring at his own reflection, he whispered, "I don't trust myself." He didn't mean it in a dramatic, emotional way. It was simply true. He didn't trust his future self to follow through on anything. And that was more painful than any external failure. For the first time in his life, Daichi wasn't trying to get motivated. He was trying to understand why people with less talent, less intelligence, and less ability were outpacing him in every way. What did they know that he didn't? That question led him somewhere unexpected. A week later, during a conversation with an older co-worker, Daichi heard a word he had never heard before: Ango. The co-worker laughed at his confusion and explained, "It's a monastic training period, 3 months of intense, unbroken practice. No gaps." He told Daichi something that would sit in his mind for weeks. "You're trying to build habits the modern way, by feeling inspired. Monks don't care about inspiration. They build identity. Once identity is locked, behavior follows." This co-worker had spent years studying Japanese monastic traditions. He described something called gyoji, the principle of continuous, unbroken practice. Not perfect practice. Not dramatic practice, just continuous practice, without gaps. Then he said something that changed everything. "Do you know why monks don't skip? It's not willpower. It's because skipping isn't an option in their identity. To skip would mean to stop being who they are." This wasn't motivational fluff. This was a structural truth about the brain. When the brain labels something as reversible, it negotiates. When the brain labels something as irreversible, it executes. And the only person who can place that label is you. For the first time in his life, Daichi realized something important. He didn't have a discipline issue. He had an identity issue. He was trying to act like someone disciplined while still identifying as someone who struggles to be consistent. The conflict was unwinnable, and so he went deeper into the history, the philosophy, and the psychology behind this ancient system. The more he learned, the more he realized what he'd been missing. Motivation gets you started. Identity keeps you going. Structure makes it automatic. He decided to try the system, not the watered-down online version of Kaizen, but the real thing. The system that has kept monks practicing every day for centuries, no matter the weather, the season, or the chaos around them. And he chose a very simple habit as his first test: waking up at 5 a.m. Not because it's magical, not because CEOs do it, but because it was the one thing he could never stick to. If this system worked here, he knew it would work anywhere. The first rule he learned was this: a habit becomes permanent. The moment breaking it becomes more painful than doing it. But modern life flips that equation. Missing a habit is painless. No one cares. No one knows. There is no cost, no consequence, no accountability. So Daichi did exactly what monks do when they take their vows. He made the habit irreversible. He wrote on actual paper, I am a person who wakes up at 5 a.m. every day for 90 days. Not, I will try. Not, I want to. Not, I hope to. I am. Identity first, behavior second. Then he did something uncomfortable. He posted it publicly. Instagram story, a group chat with his friends, a message to his family. He wasn't bragging. He was eliminating the escape route. A Harvard neuroscientist once explained that the human brain still treats loss of social credibility as a survival threat. For thousands of years, belonging to your group meant living. Losing your status meant dying. Your brain still works that way. Public commitments hijack that primitive wiring. The next morning at 4:59 a.m., his alarm rang. His first thought was the usual one, I don't want to. His second thought was new and far more powerful. If I skip, everyone will know I failed on day one. He got out of bed, not because of motivation, because skipping now had a cost. Identity had shifted. The negotiation was over. But this was only the first wall he had to break. People think they fail because they're weak. No, they fail because their schedule is fluid. Every day they ask the same exhausting question. When should I do it? Morning? Evening? After lunch? Before bed? Every time they ask that question, they drain mental energy. Every time they ask it, they invite negotiation. Every time they ask it, they lose. So Daiichi adopted the monastic rule, a fixed hour, every single day, no exceptions. The monks wake up at 3:30 a.m. every day, not because 3:30 is a magical time, but because it removes decision-making from the equation. Daiichi chose 5 a.m., not because he wanted to become a morning person, but because the world was quiet. No emails, no notifications, no distractions, no excuses. The first week was brutal. His body wanted to stay in bed. His mind threw every excuse it had, but he kept showing up. Then something peculiar happened on day 12. He woke up at 4:58 a.m., 1 minute before the alarm. Not because he wanted to, because his body had begun predicting the schedule. Fixed schedules create biological rhythms. Biology makes discipline easier. Negotiation slowly disappears. By day 18, he wasn't choosing to wake up. He was waking up because his internal clock told him to. But something else was still missing. He had fixed the time, but the practice itself was inconsistent. Some mornings he stretched. Other mornings he read. Some mornings he scrolled on his phone just for a second. His brain had found a new loophole. He had eliminated the when, but not the what. And this brings us to the most difficult part of the system, the part most people refuse to do. The rule of minimum viability. If you cannot perform the habit at full intensity, you must perform its smallest possible version. Not skipping, not pausing, not taking a rest, just shrinking the practice to something too small to fail. So Daiichi did something that felt almost embarrassing. 2 push-ups, 2 minutes of meditation, half a page of reading. It felt ridiculous. He felt weak. He felt like he was cheating, but he wasn't. He was protecting the most important thing, continuity. The human brain is not built for perfection, but it is built for patterns. If the pattern breaks, you start over. But if the pattern continues, even at microscopic scale, identity stays intact. This is where most people misunderstand discipline. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to be unbroken, even if the steps are tiny, especially when the steps are tiny. That morning, Daiichi proved something to himself. His identity didn't break, his continuity didn't break, and that meant his discipline didn't break. The headache didn't matter. The low energy didn't matter. The tiny actions didn't matter. What mattered was the message. Even on my worst day, I show up. And once that rule became real, everything changed. By day 60, something unexpected happened. Motivation, his old enemy, began to disappear, but not in a bad way. It simply became irrelevant. He no longer woke up waiting to feel ready. He no longer needed to hype himself up. He no longer argued with himself in the morning. The negotiation had died. He had crossed something psychologists call the discipline threshold, a point where the habit becomes part of your identity, and your identity becomes part of your nervous system. Motivation is emotional. Identity is structural. Once identity locks in, the brain stops using the motivational circuits and starts using deep, automatic pathways. There's a beautiful phrase in Zen: when the student disappears, practice begins. Meaning, discipline becomes effortless the moment you stop thinking about it as effort. People always ask, how do I stay motivated? How do I stay consistent? How do I stick with habits? The monks would say, you practice until the question no longer exists. By now, Daiichi's question had vanished. He wasn't trying to wake up early. He wasn't building discipline. He wasn't working on habits. He was disciplined. It was who he was, not what he did. But something deeper was happening behind the scenes, and he didn't fully understand it yet. He wasn't just becoming disciplined, he was becoming dangerous. There's a psychological phenomenon that happens when a person suddenly becomes consistent after years of inconsistency. It's called the competence curve. It looks like this. Phase 1, you're inconsistent. You fail often. You know you're failing. Your self-worth is unstable. Phase 2, you become consistent. Your identity stabilizes. You start feeling a quiet inner power. You stop negotiating with yourself. Phase 3. You surpass everyone who used to be ahead of you. People begin asking, how did you do this? When did you change? What happened to you? And then the final phase. Phase 4. Your discipline becomes threatening. People subtly pull away. They make comments. They mock your routines. They say you're obsessed, weird, or extreme. Because nothing makes people more uncomfortable than someone who embodies qualities they secretly wish they had. By day 70, Daiichi was deep into phase 4. His co-workers started joking. Are you joining a monastery? Is this a midlife crisis? Bro, you're scaring us with this 5 a.m. thing. His friends said, you're too strict, you're too serious. Relax, live a little. Even his mother said gently, you don't need to push yourself this hard. But here's the truth that no one wants to admit. The moment your discipline threatens people's comfort, you've outgrown your environment. They're not reacting to you. They're reacting to their own stagnation. And that's when Daiichi learned a powerful rule. People want you to improve, but not more than them. This is why most people never reach extreme discipline. Not because they're weak, but because they're alone. Because the moment they rise, people pull them back down. But Daiichi had crossed a line. He wasn't turning back. And that meant he needed to confront something even harder. The emotional warfare that comes from living at a higher level. There is a stage in long-term discipline where your emotions revolt. Not your body, not your schedule, not your external environment, your emotions. This is the point where the subconscious realizes, wait, this change is permanent, and it begins to fight back. For Daiichi, this showed up as something strange. He began waking up at 5 a.m., feeling empty, not sad, not tired, just emotionally blank. His routines felt mechanical. His progress felt invisible. His early mornings felt lonely. This stage is called the discipline winter. It's a psychological freeze where your mind tries to pull you back to comfort by making discipline feel pointless. Most people quit here, not because they're weak, but because they misinterpret this feeling. They think, I'm burned out. This isn't working. What's the point? But monks understand this stage deeply. There is a line from Zen master Taisen Deshimaru, when your mind becomes cold, keep going. Winter is proof that spring is near. Winter means the old identity is dying, and the new identity hasn't fully formed. This emotional discomfort isn't a sign to stop. It's a sign that the transformation is real. Daiichi pushed through. He didn't change anything. He didn't add variety. He didn't take a rest week. He didn't chase motivation. He simply kept doing the same morning sequence every single day, weathering the emotional winter without complaint. And then, on day 78, something subtle but powerful happened. He woke up, sat on the edge of his bed, and realized there was no resistance, no negotiation, no emotions pushing against him. There was only silence. This silence wasn't emptiness. It was mastery. He had crossed another threshold. Most people never reach this level of discipline, not because it's impossible, but because it requires enduring all 4 phases: physical resistance, mental negotiation, emotional rebellion, identity collapse. But if you get through all 4, you reach what monks call the ceiling of mind. At this ceiling, discipline becomes borderline supernatural. You begin to wake up before the alarm, perform habits automatically, lose the desire to skip, feel stable under stress, make decisions without hesitation, handle discomfort with calmness, move through your day with precision. This is where Daiichi found himself around day 85. He no longer cared about motivation. He no longer needed reminders. He no longer chased productivity hacks. His life no longer felt chaotic. His mind no longer felt noisy. His emotions no longer controlled him. He wasn't fighting his old self anymore. He had replaced him, and that meant the final transformation was ready to begin. The part most people never reach. The part that turns discipline into destiny. You don't become disciplined by accident. You become disciplined when you stop negotiating with your emotions. You become disciplined when you stop asking yourself how you feel and start asking yourself who you are. And this is where Bushido becomes something far deeper than a Japanese system. It becomes a mirror, one that forces you to confront the question most people never dare ask themselves. What kind of person am I choosing to be? Because that's what discipline actually is, a choice, repeated so many times that it becomes identity. Bushido teaches you that self-discipline is not a skill you learn. It's not a habit you form, and it's not something you try to get better at. It is a way of being. That's why modern people fail. They try to do discipline. A warrior tries to be disciplined. Those are 2 different universes. One asks for motivation, the other asks for transformation. The warrior's silence. There's a moment every samurai trained for that modern people have completely removed from their lives. The moment of stillness. No noise, no stimulation, no scrolling, no numbing, no escaping, just silence. Where your mind has nowhere to run and only one thing left to face, itself. Why do you think people can't sit alone with their own thoughts for even 5 minutes now? Why do you think silence feels uncomfortable? Why do you think people crave distraction like oxygen? Because stillness is where your true self is revealed, and most people don't like what they see. Samurai embraced stillness because it stripped away illusion. It sharpened the blade of awareness. It forced clarity. In stillness, weakness becomes visible. In stillness, excuses crumble. In stillness, your mind reveals the exact places where you are losing yourself. This is why your discipline collapses. Not because you lack willpower, but because you avoid silence. A samurai understood this deeply. They practiced seiza, the discipline of sitting, perfect posture, unmoving body, unshaken breath. Why? Because if you cannot command your body in stillness, you will never command it in motion. If you cannot hold discipline in silence, you will not hold it in chaos. Control begins where comfort ends. That's Bushido. The destruction of modern attention. There's a reason your attention span is shrinking. There's a reason your discipline feels unstable. There's a reason your focus disappears the moment things become difficult. Because everything around you, every app, every feed, every notification, is designed to pull you away from yourself. Bushido teaches the opposite. It teaches narrowing the mind, sharpening attention into a single point. What you think is a discipline problem is actually an attention problem. You failed to finish the project? Attention problem. You broke your habits again? Attention problem. You can't stay consistent? Attention problem. Your attention is being stolen, one distraction at a time. Bushido teaches that attention is not something you give. It is something you guard. Here is a harsh truth. If you don't control your attention, someone else will. And the moment someone else controls your attention, they control your life. Samurai guarded their focus as if it were life itself, because it was. The average modern person cannot focus for 10 minutes without checking something. The average samurai could focus for hours, even in life or death tension. So ask yourself, how strong is a mind that can stay still in danger? When yours cannot even stay still during boredom, that is the power of Bushido. Not glory, not violence, not battle. Attention mastery. Attention creates discipline. Discipline creates identity. Identity creates destiny. This is not philosophy. It is psychological cause and effect. The secret of no choice. Here's one of the most powerful psychological truths hidden inside Bushido. Remove the option to quit. Modern people fail because they give themselves too many choices. Should I wake up now or sleep more? Should I work or take a break? Should I train or skip today? Should I continue or stop? These questions destroy you more than anything else. Samurai didn't ask these questions. They trained, they executed, they acted, not because they were superhuman, not because they felt motivated, but because the decision was made before the moment arrived. That's the key. Discipline collapses when you negotiate in the moment. Emotions take over, comfort takes over, weakness takes over. Bushido eliminates the negotiation. It replaces should I with this is who I am. That is the secret, not motivation. Identity. You don't get disciplined by wanting to be disciplined. You get disciplined by removing the choice not to be. When you stop treating discipline like a decision and start treating it like identity, everything changes. The sword that cuts through self-deception. Bushido has a concept called the cutting away, not of enemies, but of illusions. The illusions that keep you weak, the illusions that protect your comfort, the illusions that prevent transformation. Here are the illusions every modern person clings to. I'll do it when I feel ready. I'll start tomorrow. I need motivation first. I need the perfect plan. I'm not disciplined enough. I'm too tired, too stressed, too busy. These are not reasons. They are mental traps. Bushido demands you cut them away, like a blade slicing through fog, because as long as you cling to these illusions, you will live a soft life with a soft mind. The samurai understood something you must understand now. Discipline is freedom from the lies you tell yourself. Once you cut those lies away, what remains is truth. Raw, uncomfortable, undeniable. But from truth comes transformation. The warrior who lives within you. You don't need to become a samurai to follow Bushido. You don't need armor. You don't need a sword. You don't need to live in ancient Japan. Bushido is not a costume. It is a psychology. You carry it inside you. When you choose honor over impulse, you follow Bushido. When you wake up and do the work, even when you don't want to, you follow Bushido. When you stay calm in chaos, you follow Bushido. When you hold yourself to a higher standard, you follow Bushido. When you become the person you promised yourself you would be, you follow Bushido. The warrior does not live in history. The warrior lives in your choices. Every day, you decide whether that warrior wakes up or goes back to sleep. The breaking point. There comes a moment in every person's life where discipline is no longer optional, a moment where your comfort is killing you, a moment where the consequences of your choices finally become real. Bushido prepares you for that moment. It teaches you that when your mind wants to break, that is not the moment to stop. It is the moment to become someone new. Pain doesn't break you. Avoidance breaks you. Fear doesn't break you. Surrender breaks you. A samurai's discipline wasn't forged in comfort. It was forged at the breaking point, because the breaking point is where you discover the truth. You are capable of far more than you believe. You don't know your limits. You only know your habits. You don't know your strength. You only know your patterns. Bushido forces you past the moment your mind says stop, and that is where transformation begins. The unbreakable self, this, right here, is where everything comes together. Bushido is not about swords, not about battles, not about warriors. It is about self-mastery. It is about becoming someone who cannot be broken by temptation, fear, distraction, weakness, inconsistency, emotion, comfort. It is about building yourself into something unshakable. Most people don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they've never seen what strength feels like. Discipline isn't supposed to feel good. It's supposed to feel real. And when it does, you begin to crave it more than comfort, because comfort gives you nothing, but discipline gives you yourself. Bushido is the process of becoming whole, becoming focused, becoming resilient, becoming calm under pressure, becoming powerful through restraint, becoming unstoppable through identity. Bushido is not ancient. It is eternal, and now it's yours. The final lesson. You started this video as one person. You will end it as another, because now you understand something most people never learn. Discipline is not what you do. Discipline is who you are. Bushido is not a system to follow. It is a path to become. So from this moment forward, when your mind tries to pull you back into weakness, remember the samurai, remember the silence, remember the stillness, remember the identity, remember the path, and remember this: you are no longer negotiating with your old self. You are becoming your true self, and that self is unbreakable.